Hola fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Mobile Suit Gundam G-Frame 10, and if you're not familiar with the G-Frame line, this is basically a candy toy line for Gundam figures. They're usually around 4 inches tall, and they come in 2 boxes. You get an armor box, which gives you kind of all of the outer armor, and then you have a frame box, which gives you the skeletal frame. You put them together, and then you have yourself a little Gundam action figure. It's a really nice comprehensive line. They don't really go in any kind of specific order. They kind of jump all around, so you never know exactly what's going to be in each wave, each assortment, I should say. But yeah, so in this one here, we have number 28, and these are just numbered in how they've been released in this line. But number 28 is Strike from Gundam Seed. Then we have the RX-178 Gundam Mark II Titans, which I'm not super familiar with, but apparently that's from Zeta Gundam. And then we have the Johnny Ridden Zaku 2, which is apparently from something called Mobile Suit Variations, which is where I guess they just kind of dream up side stuff in the Universal Century. It really just kind of looks like Shiar's Zaku 2, in my opinion. And then we have, you can see here it says Revive, because this is basically one that I guess people have been asking for. It was in an earlier wave. You can see the numbering is much lower than the rest. So this is the standard Zaku 2, and they brought that back and threw it in this box. If we open it up, we can see the case assortment here. You can get kind of a general idea of how these work. So you can see here we get this one Zaku, there's the armor box and the frame box, then we have the Strike, then we have the Titans, and then we have the Johnny Ridden Zaku 2, and then they give us an extra of Titans. So there's only 4 in the wave, and then usually it's kind of 10 to a box, so they throw in an extra on whatever they think is going to be the most popular. Honestly, I would have rather gotten another Zaku if it was me, or you'd think Strike would be the most popular out of what's in here, but they went with the Titans. Again, maybe Zeta Gundam is wildly more popular than I know because I've never seen it, but I've heard good things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to show you real quick again how these boxes work. And you may have seen these at Target because they do sell these over here now. Barnes & Noble, places like that sell these from time to time. When you see them in Target, they're usually like the 2 boxes shrink wrapped together because it doesn't really make sense to buy one without the other. If you buy the armor box, it does kind of come with a skeletal frame just so you can put the armor on it, but it's like no articulation whatsoever. It's just a bare bones kind of plastic frame, and then the box with the actual frame is the one that has all the articulation. And you can see that there's a bunch of accessories, shows you how to apply all that stuff, and then you can kind of see the lineup over here on the side. So pretty cool. I think it's a fun line. Obviously, this is an older wave, so I've been away from it for a while, but I'm excited to get back to it. So let's go ahead. I'll get these all put together, and we'll take a closer look. So here are the 4 mobile suits fully assembled. We'll start over here on the left with the Zaku. Now, this is kind of a reissue because he was included in a previous wave, and they call it kind of Revive. I guess a lot of people had been asking for more of them, and so they snuck him into this wave. But you can see it got a lot of nice detailing. The eye is painted. Everything else down here is painted. Otherwise, it's kind of this light green or dark gray plastic. So there's really no stickers to apply, which is really nice. He's got these little things around the legs that don't really lock into place. I kind of wish they did. You can see that they're kind of like little missile salvos. And if you want, you can go ahead and disconnect these, which I feel I might do just because they're really rattling around. You can see that they just kind of split apart right here. And then you can take them off and then peg them back in together. It's just 2 pegs like this. And then it kind of just forms like a brace there. So let's go ahead and disconnect these, because unfortunately I wish they pegged in solidly. A lot of things do, but for whatever reason these do not, and they just kind of rattle around. I wish they just kind of pegged into the back of the legs. I guess they did that so you wouldn't have peg holes on the back of the leg, but in this case I would have preferred it because they do kind of rattle around. But those are just kind of option parts, so you don't have to put them on. You can put them on whatever you like. But anyway, here is our Zaku. Now he does come with some option parts if you want to take the helmet off here. He comes with a different helmet that has the spike. So if you like that look a little bit better, you can do that. Or if you want to army build these and then kind of differentiate commanders, things like that, you could use the spiked helmet. I kind of like the look of the smooth helmet. You can also, when you take the helmet off, you can see this black ring here that has the eye on it. You can use that to move the eye around. It's a little difficult to do, but there you go. You can see you can kind of move it off to the side, spin it around a little bit, and then you just pop the helmet back on. Otherwise, you have a hinge here for the neck, so you can look up, look down. Then you have a ball joint, so you can certainly spin side to side. You can even tilt a little bit side to side, not a ton. Some really nice movement here in the shoulder. You have a butterfly joint, so you can bring that in and out. Otherwise, you have a ball joint here in the shoulder, so you can move that all the way around. You have a bicep swivel. You have nice range of motion there in the elbow. You have a ball joint for the hand. And he does come with an open set of hands, so he's got a closed fist set of hands for holding accessories. And then they all come with an open set of hands as well. So you get the exact same set of closed fists or open hands with every one of them. You do have some movement here. You have a ball joint at the torso. And that gives you, of course, waist articulation as well. Nice range of motion. You got a ball joint in the hip there. And these skirts will flip up so it doesn't impede the articulation at all. You have a thigh swivel. You have double jointed knees, which it's a little difficult to get him to take advantage of that. You can see this connecting cable here has a little bit of wiggle room, so that way you can pose him around and it doesn't break off or anything like that. Let me close this up. And then you do have a hinge. I think there's a hinge in there. Maybe not, but there's definitely a ball joint here in the ankle. I thought there was a hinge as well, but you can see nice range of motion there. Kick in, kick down, side to side, no problem. You can see he comes with this blaster, and he does have the side holster here, or side grip, I guess I should say. So you can go ahead and bring this in if you want him to dual wield that, which looks great. He's got the shield here on the side. He also comes with a few other accessories. If I can get this out of his hand. It's kind of a tight fit. I will say some of these accessories are kind of a tight fit. He's got this much larger bazooka, which we can go ahead and pop into his hand. And let me zoom out here just a little bit. And this also has a side holster. I keep calling it a holster. It's not really a holster, just a grip. But there you go. And I'm sure you can pose it much better than I am, but just to showcase that it does have the grip there on the side. And then you can see over here on his belt, he's got the axe, which pegs in there very nicely. Just has a little peg on the side there and has a spot right here. And then you can go ahead and have him hold on to that if you want him to use a melee weapon. I will say that my one complaint about this line, we don't see a lot of the melee weapons. We get a lot of cannons, but not a lot of beam sabers. And I feel like I wish I had a beam saber for, him to fight with the axe. It's a lot of guns, not a lot of melee weapons, which is kind of a shame. But the Zaku looks fantastic. And just to give you guys an idea, this is kind of the static frame that comes with the armor. So if you buy just the armor, you'll get that on this static frame. And then the other box has the frame with all the articulation. But it also just kind of gives you an idea of what the skeleton of every one of these looks like, which is kind of cool. Now with this base frame, you have basically just a swivel here because this piece just kind of slides onto this long peg. The arm is one solid piece. There's no elbow. There's nothing in the waist. These leg pieces just kind of tab in here. And then you just kind of have like a very limited amount of movement here on the ankle. So if you really just want to put these like this on a shelf and not really worry about them having posability, I guess you could buy just the armor packs. And then you could just kind of, sit it there on the shelf, and that will work. But to get the full articulation, you have to buy the frame. Also, some of the frame boxes include extra accessories and things like that. So I'm going to put all of his accessories off to the side, and we will move on next to the Strike. So this guy looks phenomenal. Really, really cool Gundam design. Obviously, I've seen Seed. I really liked Seed a lot. You can see he's got this massive backpack here for all of the thrust you could ever possibly need, but you can go ahead and remove this. It just kind of pegs onto the back and it comes off all in one piece. It's a little difficult to wiggle out, but you can see it's just kind of a large square tab there, and that tabs into the spot on the back. So if you just want the Strike by itself without all the extra boost, you can absolutely have him right here, and he looks really good. Really nice detailing and paint applications for the helmet there. He's got really nice paint here on the chest and everything as well. He's got pretty much all the same articulation. You have that hinge and ball joint for the neck. You have all the same, pretty much I would say all of the frames are the same. It's just the armor you're putting on there. You can see the blaster he's got here, really nice paint detailing here on the shield. And you can see how this works is it pegs onto this kind of U bracket here, which then pegs into the underneath of the forearm. So if you want, you can move this around because there is another peg here. So if you want the shield on the bottom of his forearm, you can accomplish that, or you can put it on the side, wherever you prefer. But they do give you options, which I think is really cool. And then he comes with some other accessories. Of course, he has the open set of hands, like we talked about, but he also comes with his two little blades. And if you've seen Seed, you know the Strike has these two little blades it uses early on in the show. And they do give you two of those, which I think is really cool. I wish there was some way, I can't remember, it's been a while since I've seen the show. I know they stored like either in the side of the leg or the side of the hip, I can't really remember. I wish there was a way you could do that. All they would have had to do is maybe build this out a little bit, and so that you could have those peg into the side of the leg. I think that would have been such a great little touch, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But he still looks absolutely fantastic. And I do appreciate that they included his little blades. Let's see if I can get these out. Like I said, the handholds are very tight, so you don't have to worry about them falling out anytime soon. But let's go ahead, let's get his backpack back in here so you can give him the full boost for space travel. So he's got two beam sabers here. Now, unfortunately, these are just the hilts, or the handles, whatever you'd like to call them. They do pop out, but there's no attachment or anything. Like, I wish there were some kind of like translucent attachments we could use to give us some beam sabers, but unfortunately not the case. So you have the two handles here that peg into this, but we don't have like a full sword. Even if they just gave us a full sword as a separate piece and it was all white or something, like that would have been fine just to give us something. But you do have some movement here for the wings, and then you have ball joints down here for these bottom thruster pieces, so you can kind of move those around as well. And it just looks really good. And then we just go ahead and peg this back in, like so. Very simply, tabs in there. And it doesn't make him fall over, which I appreciate. I mean, it definitely does give him some weight in the back, but as long as you just find a pose, I mean, he doesn't really have too much trouble standing, which I really appreciate. But yeah, Strike looks absolutely fantastic. Did a really nice job with him. He might be my favorite from the set, but this next guy is pretty cool as well. So this is the Gundam Mark II Titans. Now, apparently it's from Zeta Gundam, which I haven't seen, so I'm not super familiar with it, but I really do love the color scheme. You can see that kind of classic Gundam head there. Really nicely painted and detailed. You got the shield here with some really nice matte black paint, which looks fantastic. And then he's got a blaster as well. He also comes with a much larger bazooka-like weapon, which you can go ahead and just pop into his hand. Just pop this one out. And this has the same bracket here for the underarm, so that you can peg that on the side. And then he's just got all the same articulation. Now, I will say he did come with some stickers. I know I said that none of these need stickers, and technically they don't. But he just comes with a couple very minor decals. So you can see that they have the number 1, 2, and 3. Now, I'm assuming that that meant this guy was kind of a standard issue suit. And that's why they had numbers. But I think there's a spot you're supposed to put 1 here on the knee. I think there's supposed to be 1 on the shoulder. And then I think it even said that there was 1 down here on the back. I didn't apply them just because I don't, just prefer not to. But they're certainly there. And if you do buy more than 1 of this guy, because there is an extra one of these in the set, you could go ahead and give them different designations, which is kind of cool. But yeah, he's a great looking suit. Really like the color scheme. Really nice articulation. Like I said, pretty much the same as all the others. Now, he does have this little bracket here that's connected to the leg that can swivel side to side. So depending on how you have the foot posed, you can kind of move that to suit how you'd like it to go. So that's kind of a little bit of extra posability that this guy has that the others don't. But yeah, just all in all, really looks sharp. Now, he's got a connection here as well for, I'm assuming, something similar to the backpack that Strike has. They don't give you anything with this, but it's the connection's there, so I don't know if that was a separate set or something they did in one of the EX sets. Sometimes they'll do little EX sets with a bunch of extra accessories for you know, suits that already are in the main line. But he looks absolutely fantastic as well. Alright, and so last but not least, we have Johnny Ridden's Zaku 2, which I have to admit I'm really not familiar with whatsoever. I tried to look it up. Apparently, it's from something called Mobile Suit Variations, which is, I guess, where they just kind of make up some extra side stuff for the like 1 Year War in the Universal Century. I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I thought it was just Char's Zaku because he just has a red Zaku. And if you want it to be that, I mean, you could technically. Of course, it does have this number here on the side, which is probably not correct, but you know, imagination. But it does look good. Really nice head sculpt here. He's got the horn. He's got some nice paint applications here for the spikes on the shoulder. And he's got really all the same articulation I spoke about with the others. You can see he's got these like massive thrusters down here built into the leg. And if you don't care for those, they actually do give you some kind of more traditional legs. So if you want, you can take these pieces off the frame and switch these out and give them kind of a more traditional look. So if you do want that, he also comes with a non-painted shoulder if you'd like that as well. That's an option piece that they give you. And then you can see around the back here, he's got kind of a beefed up backpack, and they include just kind of a regular backpack. So if you want to downgrade this guy to like a more traditional Zaku look, you absolutely can do that. And I think that's pretty cool that they give you those option pieces. I mean, these things are crazy, though. I will say he's got some giant thrusters built into the legs, and it's really beefed up here, you can see. So it's definitely a cool look. He's got the massive cannon. He also comes with an accessory that I think is kind of neat. Basically this piece here, which what you do is you take this apart. It slides off like this, and then you put it on the sides of the shield here. And of course I have done this incorrectly. Do I have to put this up like this? And then you clip it back together, which apparently I'm not doing correctly. Should be like this. There we go. So once you do that, now it's like storage for the weapon. So you take the giant gun, if I can get it out of his hand, because it is very tight, and then you can go ahead and just kind of clip it on the side here, which is kind of neat. So if you want him to have this giant storage rack on the side of his arm, you can absolutely do that. I think that looks kind of goofy, but I think it's neat that it's an option. It's a little difficult to get it on here. And to get it off as well, as you can see. It really kind of clips on there securely. I mean, which is nice. You can see how it has like these tracks underneath. If I can get this off again, I can show you. But it has this like track here, right there. And that fits into these tracks here on the underside. So it really snugs in and is secure. So you really don't have to worry about that. I just think it looks a little goofy because he's just kind of got like a giant, you know, storage rack there on the side of his suit. But it is a neat option, and it can even hold another gun if you have one from another set. I think the regular Zaku's, let me bring this back in here. I think the regular Zaku gun fits on the other side, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that's meant to go on there like that. So he can have two giant cannons just hanging off the side of his arm if you prefer. But yeah, it's a really cool design, really nice articulation. Like I said, it's got all the same articulation as the others. Now, I will say sometimes you have things that hang off the back here that do kind of hinder articulation, as you're kind of seeing here with the waist and everything like that. But for the most part, you have some good articulation. You have these skirts that'll flip up so that you can get the legs in whatever poses you need. So you can get these kind of flying through space looks, which I think is pretty cool. So I like this line a lot. They're candy toys. They're fairly inexpensive. I think they come out to anywhere between $5 to $10 a box. And like I said, I've even seen them at Target. So if you're interested and you want to try one out, you could go to your local Target and find one. Like I said, usually they sell the armor frame. Well, the armor and the frame, they're ones of each box. They sell it all together, kind of shrink wrap the two boxes together. But yeah, I think they're kind of neat. Like I said, this is kind of the Gundam line I've been collecting. I just don't really have time to put a bunch of model kits together, as you can tell from my mini plot backlog. But this is kind of a nice way to get some nice suits that are kind of in scale with each other. I would say they're probably like 4 inches tall. Let's see, what do I have for comparison here? Here is a Yudo figure, which you can see is pretty much the exact same size. And then here is a Shoto Green Ranger figure, and you can see that they're a little bit taller. So I would say they're probably in the 4 to 5 inch range, if I had to guess. Which I think is really fun because it makes them, you know, easy for storage, and you can collect a bunch of them and they don't take up a ton of room. Plus, like I said, they're relatively inexpensive, and there's not a ton to put together. Really, when you get a box of these, it's kind of transporting the armor from the frame that has no articulation onto the frame that has the articulation. So it's just kind of, you know, unpegging them from one thing and moving them over, and then just kind of, you know, putting everything together and giving them the accessories. So it's not really a model kit per se, because you don't have to, like, you know, cut anything out of a frame, or there's a name for those that's escaping me right now, but you don't have to cut any pieces out. There's certainly no glue or any kind of adhesive required. It's just kind of unpegging them from one thing, pegging them onto the other body, and then just kind of giving them all of the accessories and whatnot. There's not really any stickers unless you want to add a couple. They give you a couple detail stickers, but certainly not really much of an issue to apply, and you really don't even need to, because as you can see, these all look absolutely fantastic just right out of the box, fully painted and everything. So I think it's a fun line, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.